Hello, hockey fans. Welcome back. 2024 ISBHF World Junior Ball Hockey Championships here in Zilina, Slovakia at beautiful Nike Arena. Got a good one for you coming up here in the U18 division. Canada versus Great Britain. Just as a reminder, you can get live scoring in effect on stats.isbhf.com. There's a link directly to it from our homepage. We are just about ready for the opening ball drop here. Referee's waiting for the signal from the timekeeper. And we are underway as Canada takes early possession. Early good save there, rebound shot, score just like that, bang bang. Canada up 1-0. That might be a record, folks, 7 seconds into the game. Looks like number 18 for Canada scored on that one. That's Andy Knight. I'll get you the assist here on the initial shot in just a second. Canada lost earlier today in the opening match of the day to the Czech Republic, 6-3. Czechs scored an empty net to make it 6-3. As Great Britain takes possession into the Canadian zone. So back behind the net, Canada takes possession up along the far board, centering attempt, looking to gain the zone. They're offsides. Now they gain it. Knight has it. Knight fires it all the way around. Picked up behind the net. Canada working the ball, throws it in front, nobody there to receive it. Wrist shot blocked by Great Britain. As it looks like Canada's going to get some line changes here, as will Great Britain. So 1-0 Canada, just past a minute, Canada scoring 7 seconds into it. Great Britain lost in their opening match of the day, 8-2 to Switzerland. So both these teams looking to get on the winning side of things here. As Canada regains possession through the neutral zone. Oh, good move there on the part of number 87. Love it. Centering attempt. Nobody there to pick it up. Great Britain now through the neutral zone. They do not have numbers, however. Poke checked away. Picked up by Taylor Mackey. Fired it towards the far boards. Dumped in by Canada. Over to the far face-off circle, poke checked into the boards. Now back to the point. Canada looking for a shooting lane, doesn't have one. Back to the far point, shot. Looks like it hit the side of the net and then caromed off the boards all the way around to the near boards. Picked back up by Mackey. Cross floor, back to the point, up to Green. Green looking to make something happen here. Trades places. Centering attempt over to Hamlin. Over to the point, shot, deflected, in on net. Good job by Great Britain there, clogging the shooting lanes. As Great Britain now is going to get some line changes. Dumped in by Canada, picked up by Max Hamlin. Hamlin wheeling and dealing along the far boards. Looking for some help, centering attempt. A little too hot to handle there. Scott has it. Over to Marcus, back to Hamlin. Rolls off of his stick momentarily. Wrist shot, gets deflected up off the glass. Good pinch by Scott. Hemmed in along the boards. Canada still hemmed in. Good job there by Charlie Bolstridge for Great Britain. Battling hard. Bolstridge still battling hard. Now Canada collects it behind the net. Center attempt goes off a stick shot. Oh, what a save. Ball still loose. Off the side of the net. Back to the point. Long shot in. Waffled aside. Great Britain corrals the rebound. Trying to get it out of the zone. Can't get any good graphite on it. Long shot from the point. Attempted deflection missed. Now Great Britain gets it. See if they can get it out of the zone. Nope. Try to stick handle out, and it's intercepted by Canada. Down low. Oh, oh, what a stop! I don't think the netminder knew he had it. Defensive breakdown there for Great Britain. The referee talking with the goaltender. I'm not sure if there's an issue with the equipment. So in net for Great Britain is Joshua Mrozinski, and for Canada is Carter Arnold. So Mrozinski, a couple of good saves already. Shot, score! On the one-time attempt, right through the 5-hole of Mrozinski. Canada now up 2-0. And it looks like the goal scorer for Canada there, number 86, Austin Pachik. So the first goal for Canada was scored by Andy Knight and assisted by the captain, Jack Sheru. Canada now up 2-0 with 11 minutes remaining in the opening period here. Canada looking to work it through the neutral zone, but Pachik unable to receive that, so the faceoff will come all the way back down deep to the right of Carter Arnold. So the second goal, yes, Austin Pachik, assisted by number 17, Griffin Tarling. And the second assist here, number 44, Will Hopcraft. Canada now carrying it into the Great Britain zone. There's Pachik, the goal scorer. Good save by Mrozinski. Dangerous rebound, though. Kicked it right out to a streaking Canada player. Great Britain's going to have to do a better job cleaning up, helping out the goaltender on these rebounds. Long shot deflected. Great Britain trying to carry it out. It's poke checked away. Taken by Noble. Noble has it. Has it roll off his stick. Back into the Great Britain zone. Good poke check there by the Canadian defenseman. And that is going to be a flooring call. Face-off will come back all the way down to the Great Britain zone. So for those new to ball hockey, when we say flooring, it's just like icing in ice hockey. Same rule. If you're behind the red line and you send the ball all the way past the line that runs parallel to the opposing team's netminder, that is a flooring call. Knight ready to take the draw, wins it back, shot high over the crossbar, off the glass, picked up by Noble. Back to the point, Osborne, long wrist shot, attempted deflection, went over the crossbar. Mrozinski in good position there. Over to Zazzala, number 7, back to Noble. Canada controlling the play here early against Great Britain. Back to Zazzala. Oh, Noble tried to center that, went off a Great Britain player's foot. Onto the stick of the captain, Jack Sherow. Long wrist shot, saved Mrozinski. Great Britain did a good job there clearing that rebound effort, but that's going to be another flooring call with 9 minutes and 13 seconds remaining here in the opening period. 2-0 Canada over Great Britain. Both teams looking to get on the winning side of things. Great Britain fell in their opening match to Switzerland 8-2, and Canada lost 6-3 to the Czech Republic, the defending gold medal champions. From the 2023 tournament in Liberec, Czech Republic. Long shot, missed the net, off the glass, centering attempt, deflected up high over the crossbar. Good deflection there by Taylor Mackey. Didn't miss by much. Osborne trying to control that in. Rolled off with the stick. He's going to give chase now. Back behind the netminder. Takes it up near the far boards. Another centering attempt gets deflected up over the glass and out of play. Referee waiting for both teams to finish making their line changes. And we are ready for the face-off. Comes along the near boards, taken by Canada, intercepted by the Brits. Over towards the far boards. Good keep by the Canadian defender. Back to the point, long shot by Osborne, goes wide. Hamlin, pinned up along the boards, can't gain possession. Gets some help from the defense. Ends up back with it. Now Hamlin behind the net, trying a centering attempt. Looked like that was number 87, Jackson Lovett, trying to get a wraparound effort going there, but good stick work by the Great Britain defenseman. Misplayed by Canada. Opportunity for Great Britain here. Just dumped in on net. Ooh, almost a dangerous rebound there. Not sure if Carter Arnold saw that Great Britain player standing over there to his right, but nonetheless, he gets the face-off. 7:54 remaining. Canada is coached by John Silcox. And for Great Britain, behind their bench, calling the shots is Callum West. As Canada gains the zone, gets deflected up over the mesh netting and into the bleachers. So we'll get a draw here down deep. Looking down at the Great Britain bench right now, they have the Union Jack flag there. See Coach West coaching up some of his players. Long wrist shot, hits the body in front. One-time effort. Oh, good stop, Mrochinski. Nice job sliding across there and getting a pad on that, steering it into the corner. Back to the point, Green. Over to Marcus. Shot. Waffle save. It's a good look at the net there by Marcus. I mean, he was basically trying to go top shelf. Just, Morochinski took that extra step out, cut down the angle on him. Back to the point to Green. Green, nice move. Can't find a passing lane. Green still with it. From the point, shot, deflected wide. Canada still with lots of attack time here in the Great Britain zone. Centering attempt. Marcus, pad save. Back to Green, winds up, deflected. Great Britain look to get the clear here. That's going to end up as a flooring call. Well, player a little disappointed with himself. Probably didn't realize he had as much floor as he did. That was Williamson, number 11, guilty of the flooring. It's one thing about young players here in these junior world championships, you know, for a lot of them it's their first time playing under world championship lights. And it's easy up here in the announcer box to see how much space you have, but when you're down there on the floor, a lot of times you just don't know how much time you have to make a move with the ball, but good learning experience for them. Great Britain hemmed in now by the Canada forecheck. George Mullen with it, sends it back around. Over to Liam Otten-Shaw. We're going to get a penalty now. I think it's going to be on Otten-Shaw. Canadian netminder heads to the bench. Canada going to bring out an extra attacker. Long shot right into the glove of Mrochinski. We'll see what the call is. Holding. Canada will go on the power play. Up 2-0. 5:52 remaining here in the first period. U18 division, 2024 World Junior Ball Hockey Championships. So for Canada, looks like Lovett's going to take the draw. He's got Noble to his left. Behind him, he's got Brankovic. One back by Canada. Over to Zazula. Over to Brankovic. Back to Zazula. Back to the point to Zazula. Down to Brankovic. Zazula. Canada trying to get that one-timer going here. Long shot deflected. Off the glass. Back down low. Over to the captain, Shiro. Zazula. Down low. One-time attempt just goes wide. Brankovic, good quick release. Shiro has it. Center attempt gets deflected up into the net, and Canada will go up 3-0. That's Jackson Lovett on the deflection there. Nothing Moroczynski can do. As he takes his helmet off and comes to the Great Britain bench right now. I think he's asking for some water. Gonna head back into his crease now. So 3-0 Canada. First period action here. 5 minutes remaining. Just saw a couple of good games between the United States and Slovakia in the U18 division. USA was up 1-0, and then Slovakia tied it late in the third. Ended up going into a shootout. Zach Warner-Sine was the only one to get a goal in that shootout to give the U.S. U18 team the victory over Slovakia. And then in the U16, Slovakia jumped out to a 3-0 lead. U.S. ended up coming back, make it 4-3 as the ball goes up into the mesh netting, and that's how the game finished. Turned out to be a wild one. Both teams had a lot of opportunities. So some good action here so far. As Great Britain's going to get some fresh runners out. Face-off won by Canada. Well, mishandled at the point. Almost a breakout for Great Britain. Wrist shot. Moroczynski makes the save down under the butterfly. Face-off will come back out to his left. Looks like Will Hopcraft will take the draw for Canada. One back by Canada. Wrist shot. Another good save. Rebound. Blocked. Centering attempt. Shot. Save. Right into the breadbasket. Well, it may be 3-0, but Moroczynski certainly has brought his top game today. He's made several great saves so far. Canada has it. Centering attempt. Nobody there to receive it. Shot. Save Moroczynski. That was point blank. Off the stick of Kyle Tucker. Wheeling and dealing at the point is Barrington. Has it taken away. Chance for Great Britain to get something going. Back towards the defense. Canada now, man all alone in front. Shot, save. Moroczynski looks behind him. It's in his pads. Well, number 93, Kyle Tucker, a little frustrated with himself that he didn't bury that. But hey, that's just a great save. Nothing you can do about that. Ready for the draw here to the right of the Great Britain netminder, Mochinski, as the referee across the floor blows the whistle for a face-off violation. So far, Carter Arnold for Canada has made 2 saves. Mochinski has made 10 on 13 shots. Great Britain trying to get the ball out, mishandled. Now picked up by Great Britain, trying to dump it out into the Canada zone. They do, but beaten to it by Canadian defenseman number 33, Burke. Burke still with it. Centering attempt to Arnold. Canada getting set up in the zone. Canada walking it in. Shot, score! Well, that's one of those things Great Britain just has to learn, right? You got to collapse down. Canada have just walk in all alone on your netminder. So the goal will be given to number 8, Jaden Bulmer for Canada. And if I had a color commentator with me, I'm sure the color commentator would say, you're right, Chris, you just can't let great shooters walk in all alone on your netminder. You got to learn to collapse down. But hey, listen, Great Britain's right. They're still a young program. In comparison to a perennial powerhouse like Canada, they're certainly new to the bright lights of Ball Hockey World Championships. So every tournament they get a chance to play in and give these kids some experience, they're just going to get better. Good move at the point. Walks in. Shot. Save. Pinned along the far boards. Great Britain has it. Chips it up out of the zone. And we're going to end up with a flooring call here. Faceoff will come back down deep with 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Canada leading 4-0. So to recap the scoring, Andy Knight opened it up at the 7-second mark, which may well be a record here in the juniors division, assisted by the captain Shirao. Then Austin Patrick, assisted by Tarling and Hopcraft. Then Jackson Lovett, assisted by Noble and Shirao. And then your last goal was Jaden Bulmer, assisted by Green. So the captain Shirao, 2 points so far on the day. He won player of the game earlier, and that's going to be another flooring call. Referee providing instructions. Canada wins it to the far boards. Getting a cycle going down low. That was the captain Shiro that had it. Now back to the point. On the stick of Zazzala. Down low over to Shiro. Back to Zazzala. Bounces off of his stick towards the near corner. Sends it back to the point over to Noble. Centering attempt Osborne. Long wrist shot. Seen the whole way, swallowed up into his breadbasket. Good positional goaltending for Joshua Mrozinski. Just about ready for the draw here. Jackson Lovett take it for Canada. Great Britain wins it. Good job on the part of Aaron Winstanley. But Canada retakes possession. They've controlled virtually all the attack time in this game thus far. Wrist shot. Good pad save. Oh, trickles in. Oh, Mochinski. Good job there, just getting a stick on it. He made the right save. And it's a pad save, right? He kicks it out to his defenseman. Defenseman just misplayed it and sent it back in on net. But again, these are younger players, and a lot of times they just don't realize that they have as much time as they do, which is certainly very easy for me to see up here. I'm not down there on the floor. Centering attempt, wrist shot, pad save, and that one ends up getting batted in by number 87, Jackson Lovett. So that'll be 5-0 Canada. Well, I see Morochinski putting his head up, and if you heard me do any of the play-by-play at the World Ball Hockey Championships the last week in Visp in Rouen, Switzerland, I'm a goaltender myself. I would tell Morochinski, listen, you're obviously up against a more talented team, a more veteran team, right? I don't think anybody has any delusions of grandeur here on the part of Great Britain, knowing what they're up against with Canada. You know, they've had an established ball hockey program for the better part of, 5 decades. Great Britain's had it for 1. So you need to factor that into account. You're playing well. You haven't let in any bad goals, right? Just put it behind you, on to the next save. That's all you can do, right? Once it's behind you, you have no control over it. So there's no point in dwelling on it. Just on to the next save. And I'm sure that's what his coaching staff will remind him here between periods as Hamlin gets a look at the net, intercepted by Great Britain. So that's what they need to do, right? Make sure they get sticks in passing lanes. Canada known for their precision passing. Just try and put a stop to it. Is that a flooring call? I thought, yeah, it is. Well, I thought the Great Britain player was going to beat that flooring call, but he didn't. But back to my point about clogging passing lanes and shooting lanes, right? Just try to get sticks and bodies in there. Canada's known for moving the ball very well, getting one-timers set up, finding open spaces. Try not to let them have it. And when you get the ball on your stick, right, if you don't have an outlet pass, try the lob to get the clear. And if you feel like you don't have time, then, take the flooring, right? Like, see that play there? He had nowhere to go with it. That's the right option. It's a flooring call, but that's all he can do. That's not a bad hockey play. Face-off picked up by the Canadians. Down low. Along the far boards. Back to the point. Centering attempt. Backhand shot. Score! That'll be Trey Marcus on the goal. Well, that's an example of what I mean about precision passing. So, from a coaching perspective, Great Britain really didn't make any mistakes there. They did the right thing. As soon as that centering attempt was made, they collapsed down on them. But, when you're playing teams like Canada, who have been doing this for years and years and years, right? As soon as they see you collapse down, it's almost a set play for them because they've done it so many times in their rec leagues and their provincials, right? They expect the winger to be open there, and that's what happens. It's all part of the learning experience. So for you Great Britain fans at home, don't be down on your team. It's not like they're playing bad. They're just playing against a much more experienced opponent. So 4 seconds left here, all alone. Good save, Morochinski, rebound. That'll do it for the period. Hey, credit to Morochinski, right? Gave up 6 goals, but, he's still out there battling. Making saves. That's all you can do. On to the next one. All right, 5-minute break between periods. We'll be back for start of second period action. The Canadians leading the Brits right now 6-0. All right, welcome back. Ready for start of second period action here. Canada leading Great Britain 6-0. As Canada gains his own, streaks in now, trying to get a backhand attempt. However, the netminder was trying to signal to the referee that there was an equipment issue. Referee didn't see it until the last second. Looks like Mrochinski's all set now. So just to continue on with my point about talent differentials between Canada and Great Britain, right? You know, Canada's been playing ball hockey for a lot longer than it's been popular, obviously, in Great Britain. So if you're Great Britain, right, you know what you're up against. You know, the main thing here is to gain the experience as Canada now looking to get another centering pass. And do your fundamentals correct, right? No open guys. Make sure you stay with a man. Make sure you get sticks in passing lanes. When you see Canadian players winding up for a shot, good save, Mrochinski. Rebound. Deflected wide. But I tell you, I'm impressed with Mrochinski. He really showing up today. Obviously, it's 6-0, but you can't. Listen, I'm a goalie. I can't fault him on any of those goals. Nothing he could have done on any of them. As Canada now gets a poke check back towards the near corner to the point. Good job on the keep by Jack Barrington, number 98. Barrington, backhand pass. Trying to hit Tucker there, but I think he thought Tucker was going to streak towards the net, and Tucker was expecting that to come banking off the board. So regardless, ends up on the stick of Great Britain. So this is one of those examples here, right? So you're hemmed in, you got nowhere to go, right? Just take the clear. Get it off your stick. Don't try and stick handle out of trouble. That's a smart play. That's exactly what young players need to learn how to do. So credit there to Harrison Booth. As Canada now potentially with a 3-on-1. Great Britain needs to be careful there. Rolls off the stick of number 9, Trey Marcus. Back to the point. Centering attempt down low, right into the trapper of Mrochinski. So that's good defensive stick work there by Great Britain. That's another example of what I'm talking about, right? You see a player trying to walk in, get your sticks in the lane. Don't give them room to make plays. Picking up by Bulmer, wrist shot. Good shoulder save there, Mrochinski. Centering attempt was fanned on by Marcus. Back to the point, over to Scott. Wrist shot, save Mrochinski. That one was rifled off the stick of number 33, Mason Burke. Boy, that kid's got a wrister and a half, huh? Could hear the whistle of it up here. Face off one back by Canada. Canada still with possession. Back to Burke. Burke, long shot, deflected. And again, great job by Great Britain. See, that's smart hockey there on the part of number 94, Charlie Bolger. Sees him walking in towards the net, clog the shooting lane, right, deflect the shot. That's what you want to see. Good, solid, fundamental hockey. Tucker now down low. Centering attempt. Again, good defensive stick work on the part of Great Britain. One back by Canada, sent in down low. Tucker with it. Tucker trying to wheel and deal, make something happen. Centering attempt blocked again by Great Britain. See, so obviously the coaches said something to him in between periods there, right? More sticks in lanes, right? They'll give them a lot of space. They're doing a better job. That's improvement. That's something to build on. Shot. Easily sticked aside by Carter Arnold. Now Canada dumps it out up high. Kept in at the point. Great Britain trying to get some sustained zone time here. Canada picks it up. Hamlin giving chase. Centering attempt, shot, save. That was Taylor Mackey who walked in there. Dumped in deep by Parson Mervon. That was Charlie Farrow giving chase. Beaten on the ball by the Canadian defender. Back to the Great Britain side of the rink. Centering attempt, shot, good save. Centering attempt, shot, another save. Zazzola. Pass out of the reach of Brandon Osborne into the corner. Canada trying to get that one-time attempt blocked. So again, good fundamental hockey, right? Clog the shooting lane. That's a good job there. Great Britain has it. Trying to get it poke checked out of the zone. They can't, so Zazzola is going to rattle that one in back behind the net. Picked up by Mackey. In deep. Hamlin had it over to Zazzola. Shot wide. Long shot from the point. Good butterfly save again. Behind the net now. Canada going to try that same play we've seen several times now. Wrist shot went wide. Back onto the stick of Barrington. Gets deflected towards the far boards. Circling Canada. Shot. Mrochinski got a piece of that. Ball stuck on the net. To the point, over to Putos. Putos with it. Over to Sherrill. Back to Putos. Shot wide. Back to the captain, Sherrill. Sent in down deep. Great Britain trying to collapse down here. Good job. Good save. So that's smart hockey. That's what you want to do. All right, work on your fundamentals. See what they're doing there? All right, now it's an easy save from Mrochinski. So for you young fans watching at home, right, you want to play at this level someday. Those are the little things that coaches expect you to do. You want to make squads like this. Canada regains his own, back to the point. Barrington with it, wrist shot wide. Great Britain with it behind the net, rattled up along the far boards. Noble lost it momentarily, picks it back up. Noble looking for a shooting lane, easily waffled aside. Back, shot goes wide off the stick of Noble. Picked up by Green. To the far boards. Down low to Sherrill, back up towards the point. Back over to Green. Green looking at the net, fakes the shot. One-timer, blocked. Good job there on the part of number 85, Rory Waterhouse. It's exactly what coaches love to see. Sacrificing the body, taking the bruise. You know, you're down 6-0, right? That's it, man. Fundamentals, you know. Just good, solid hockey. Wrist shot wide. Over to Tucker. Centering attempt. Shot wide. Back to the point. Over to Marcus. Wrist shot. Save. Rebound. Score. Well, that was about 3 straight minutes of bombardment. And, again, there's nothing Mrochinski can do on that. And I think that's going to be it for him. He grabs his water bottle and head towards the bench. So we'll get a goalie change here halfway through the second. Hey, credit to Joshua Mrochinski. Way to battle as he gets a lot of handshakes from the Canadian players. That's what you want to see here. Good sportsmanship. Everybody's shaking his hand. So I'm going to head over to stats.isbhf.com and I'll get you some numbers here on Moroczynski. Yeah, so he made 24 saves on 31 shots, right, in a period and a half. Well, what more can you ask out of somebody, right? And again, as a goaltender myself, you can't save them all. Can't. Nobody can. Nobody has a 100 save percentage. Not even the great Dominic Hasek or Patrick Waugh, right? Gilles Meloche. Pick a famous NHL goaltender. They'll all tell you the same thing. You can't save them all. All you can do is forget about the one you let in and move on to the next one. So in net now for Great Britain, number 42, Logan Caldwell. See how Caldwell fares as Canada gets a goal to make it 8-0. And I know I'm calling the game, folks, but you can see it for yourself, right? There's nothing he can do on that. And I'm not being a homer. I'm not being biased because I'm a goaltender. If a goaltender lets in a bad goal, I'll be the first person to say it. I'll say it in a respectful manner. But, you know, it's tic-tac-toe for Canada, man, right? This is, at the end of the day, this is an experience issue. That's what this is, you know? As Canada gains the zone again here. Shot score. Now, for those really new to ball hockey, you may be wondering, well, this is unsportsmanlike for Canada. I mean, Jiminy Crickets, they're up 8-0. They're still 2-on-nones. You know, what is this? Why are they rifling shots in on? Well, the number one tiebreaker is goal differential. All the teams know that coming in. They are all made perfectly aware of that. It is not a sportsmanship issue. And believe me, if the roles were reversed and Great Britain was the ball hockey powerhouse, they'd be doing the same thing to Canada. That's why you don't see the Canadians players showing bad sportsmanship, right, and acting like they just scored a game-winning goal in an overtime game here. So they will continue to fire shots. They will continue to try and make plays, and that is well within the realm of sportsmanship here at the World Junior Ball Hockey Championships. And for Great Britain, again, this is, you know, it's one of those things, lesson learned, right? They knew this coming in. And they're just going to continue to try to practice good, fundamentally sound hockey. You see Osborne make a move there, centering attempt, blocked. And then we get a save there from Logan Caldwell. .548 left here in the second. Canada leading 9-0. For Carter Arnold, he has made 3 saves in net for Canada. Centering attempt goes all the way to the far boards. Kept in at the point by Canada. Tarling centers it. Wrist shot goes off a foot. Great Britain now going to try and carry it out of the zone. They do. Dumped in deep. No flooring on the play. Canada. Centering attempt went off of a foot, then went off of another foot. Canadian player couldn't quite corral it. Now onto the stick of Burke. That was number 44, Will Hopcraft for Canada. Just couldn't corral that. Now Hopcraft has it. Good waffle save there by Caldwell. Save. And that is going to go out of the zone. So good play there on the part of number 23, Dylan Pick. Didn't give up on the play. Managed to get enough graphite on it to send that out. As that was an errant pass on the part of Lovett. Canada will regain the zone. Great Britain caught in a line change here. Oh, lucky break. Bounces onto the stick of Farrow, but Tried to dump it off, and Canada was right there to intercept as Mackey sends it towards the far boards. All the way rattles around to Dustin Putos. Putos walking in, trying to pick a corner, hits a body. Centering attempt over to Lovett. Tried to backhand it, but was just a little too far for Kyle Green. Canada now established in the zone. Center attempt to Mackey. Shot. Good save. And we're going to get too many men on the floor here. Well, again, lesson learned, right? What can you do? It happens. Put it behind you. Do the best you can. Try and kill this penalty. And it looks like for Great Britain, number 13, Charlie Farrow, will serve the penalty. So opportunity for Canada to pad their lead here. And if it comes down to goal differential, right? Again, that's why they are going to continue to fire shots here on Logan Caldwell. Face off, one back by Great Britain. Picked up by Canada. Shot, save, Caldwell. His 5th save so far. Back to the point. Over to Osborne, one-timer. Good positional goaltending. Another save. Canada comes out of the fray with the ball. One-timer high over the glass. Green with it. Wrist shot. Again, good positional goaltending. That's what you want to do, right? Just cut down the angle, right? The ball should hit you. Shot, save. Well, no, the ref says that went in. Oh, from my angle, I apologize. It looked like he made the save there, but Canada will get the goal, make it 10-0, 2 minutes, 14 seconds. That's why the refs are down on the floor and I'm up here in the bird box. I will get you a recap of the scoring here in just a moment. Centering attempt, and Canada gets goal number 11. I want to give credit to Canada, too. They're showing good sportsmanship, right? Nobody's jumping up and down when they score. Nobody's cheering on the bench. They are under no delusions, right, about the talent differential between themselves and Great Britain. So it's good sportsmanship on their part. It's always tough to play in these games. It's tough to comment them. It's tough to referee them. If you're the Canadian netminder, it's tough to play in it because you rarely face a shot. It's hard to keep your head in the game when the ball rarely comes to your zone. Tarling with it. Intercepted by Great Britain. See, now that's smart hockey there, right? He had nowhere to go. Just dump it out. That's all he can do. Canada now up along the far boards to center, over to Noble. Noble chips it in, and that's just going to be steered into the corner by Caldwell. Minute 20 remaining in the period. Back behind the net to Sherrow. Noble with it. Shot rifled over the glass. Off the stick of Andy Knight. Boy, that kid's got a howitzer. Have to keep an eye on him. Zazzala picks a corner. Well, again, nothing you can do, right? That's just a great player making a great shot. That's all it is. And again, if you're Great Britain and you're home and you're watching, you say, well, you know, come on, man, it's 12-0, right? This is, you know, again, goal differential's the number one tiebreaker. So Canada, the Czech Republic, Slovakia, the United States, the four traditional powerhouses are all going to play Great Britain. And believe me, we've had to use this before in the ISBHF. So I get it. It may seem frustrating, but at the end of the day, it's a learning experience. It's a young program. You know, we here at the ISBHF doing our best to grow the game, and eventually our goal, right, like we have in the men's division, is to have a B pool where Great Britain won't have to face teams like Canada and the Czech Republic and whatnot. They can play teams more along their own skill level, because this is not fun for anybody, right? But to the extent that they can, work on the fundamentals, listen to the coaches, and just do the best you can, right? On to the next play. As I have my executive secretary, David Torr, politely staring at me during the commentary, I will be with Mr. Torr here in just a moment. We have 31 seconds remaining.
The first tiebreaker is internal matches.
It's what?
The first tiebreaker is matches between the tie teams, not goal difference.
Why is it different here?
It isn't different.
It was goal differential and... Oh, dude, I've been saying this since the beginning.
It's internal matches between the two.
So if there's a three-way tie...
It's internal within the three.
And what if one beats one beats one beats one?
Then it's score between the three.
Wow. Okay. Well, there's a reason Mr. Torr came up into the booth to politely correct his promotions director. Goal differential is not the number one tiebreaker. It is wins and losses between the teams who finish. So I stand corrected. I look like the fool. I fully deserve all the vitriol and hatred I'm probably going to get in the YouTube comments. But, folks, I do my best up here as always. So I'm going to put the headset down. 5 minutes between periods. We'll be back. Canada up. 12-0 on Great Britain.
So I've come to the conclusion, just a rotten piece of fruit. So I'll end up dying slowly, rotting away. See, I just want to be able to climb without a fall, to get out of this maze and run. Please strike me thunder, let me get closer to the light. Please strike me thunder, so I can be free. So I've come to the conclusion, I'm just one man amongst thousands. In this world I'll load them, sure they'll do fine without me. The chemicals in my head don't work as yours, 'cause every piece of road is a little bit of happiness.
All right, welcome back, folks. Start of the third period action here. Canada leading Great Britain 12-0. So I just had a long conversation with my executive secretary, David Torr, who I report to, as does the technical director, Mr. Andrei Nemchek. Goal differential, I stand corrected, is not the number one tiebreaker. It is further on down the list. However, it is a tiebreaker. It has been used before, not often. So to my point about sportsmanship, right? You're up 12-0. What are you sitting here doing, taking 2-on-1s, rifling howitzers at the netminder, right? Just like, can we all just take it easy? Goal differential can matter. And that is made clear to all of these teams prior to the tournament. And as you saw when Moroczynski came off the net, for Great Britain, right? He got a handshake from everybody on Canada, okay? Both of these teams know exactly where they stand in terms of the talent differential. So to the Great Britain fans who are watching this, yes, your team's down 12-0. Is it tough to watch? Of course it is, right? I don't want to see a 12-0 game. Nobody does. Canada doesn't want to see a 12-0 game. This is not helping their players, right? But the main coaching point is fundamentals, right? So when you're up against a team that is clearly better, and this happens I know the people in Great Britain don't follow American football, like the National Football League or collegiate football, the NCAAs. We're going to get a flooring call here, but this happens a lot in the NCAA, where you have what we call traditional powerhouses, right? Like Georgia, Michigan, Alabama, Ohio State, where they play, lesser teams, we'll call them, and they end up winning 55-0, right? And so you say, well, Jiminy Crickets, man, 55-0. They couldn't just put in the third stringers when it was 35-0, and yes, they do. They pull the first stringers. They put in the second stringers and then the third stringers. But what are you supposed to tell the players to do, right? Just take a knee on every play? Because then that becomes a level of insulting sportsmanship. And you don't want to see that. So you want to give both teams an opportunity to work on fundamentals. For Great Britain, again, it's a learning experience. They will get better with every tournament they participate in. See how that player, number 8, just charged the point there? That's what you want to do, right? You're down 12-0, clog the shooting lane, clog the passing lane. Give Canada nothing to look at the net. Make sure that if the ball does get through to Logan Caldwell, right, he can see it clean. Anyway, that's enough. One of my least used words. Proselytizing. That's enough proselytizing for me. Back to the action. Green at the point, over to the far boards, down low, centering attempt. Batted out of the air, but then picked back up by Canada along the far boards. Hamlin still wheeling and dealing, trying to make something happen there. He looks like he's hemmed in by Aughton Shaw. Aughton Shaw broke up the play. Hey, credit to that kid. Good work there. Canada now back in their own zone. They're going to get a couple of fresh legs here as we approach the 12-minute mark remaining here in the third period. Canada up 12-0. So Great Britain gains its own here. 2-on-1 shot. Oh, what a stop! So that's what I'm talking about, right? So it's just a perfect example, right? So for Carter Arnold, right, that's the fourth shot that the kid has faced. It's real, and again, I'm a goalie. It's really tough to keep your head in the game when you know that you are on the more dominant team. But then there he goes, right? All of a sudden, Canada turns the ball over. It's a 2-on-1, and the Great Britain player unleashes a laser beam that almost beats him under the left pad. So, credit to Carter Arnold, man. That's hard to do. And he makes it look easy because he's a world championship level goaltender. But believe me, that is very hard to do. You've barely had to move your muscles all game, and then all of a sudden you're facing a 2-on-1, and you're going to go down to the butterfly and flash some leather. So, hey, I tip my cap goalie to that kid. And we had a flooring call, so that's why the face-off is coming all the way back down here. Got a good one coming up for you next. It's what the locals are referring to as the big one of the day. Heated rivalry, hometown Slovakia taking on the Czech Republic. Should be a lot of fans in attendance for that one. These are two teams that know each other well. They play scrimmages quite a bit. Expect that one to be very fast-paced, very physical, and just very high energy all around. So even if you're a Canada or a Great Britain fan, if you just like good hockey, hey, stick around for Slovakia against the Czech Republic. That's going to be a good game. My prediction, that's going to be a one-goal game, potentially an empty netter, right? So maybe two, but I have a feeling it's going to be a one-goal game. And the team that stays out of the penalty box will be the team that ends up on the winning side of things. I think special teams are going to decide that game because they're so evenly matched. Good job keeping it in there by Burke. Back to the point. Down low. Over to Tucker. And I should add, that is in the U18 division. So it's Slovakia against the Czech Republic, a.k.a. Czechia, at 5 p.m. local time. I know you North American, Canadian folks are 6 hours behind us over here on the continent of Europe. So that will be 11 a.m. your time as Great Britain gains the zone. Dustin Putos with it, still wheeling and dealing. Has a lane down low, takes it. Putos receives it back. Good job there on the part of Dylan Kirchhoff. Shot deflected up into the mesh netting, and we'll get a whistle. 9:47 remaining here. After that, the final game of the day here on the main rink will be hometown Slovakia taking on Hungary in the U16 division. On the second rink, which hopefully they have the stream working for that. I know that there were some technical issues, and especially you folks in Great Britain were certainly caught on the short end of the stick there, and we fully apologize for that. 8:30 a.m. this morning game against Switzerland. We're just having some issues with the camera, but hopefully that's been worked out. So on the second rink, you will see Switzerland against the United States in the U18 division at 5 p.m. And then finishing up at 7 p.m. will be the Czech Republic red team against the United States in the U16 division. For the U16, the Czech Republic has two teams. They have a red and a white. It is just part of how they structure their program. Try and give as many players as they can experience at World Championship level. So 13-0 Canada. Canada now with it at the point. Down low, behind the net. Centering attempt. Deflected wide. Back behind the net. Over to the point. Fakes the shot. Over to Cheryl. Long shot. Deflected wide. I'm going to go ahead and recap the scoring here. Goal scorers: Andy Knight, Austin Patrick, Jackson Lovett, Jaden Bulmer, Max Hamlin, Jaden Bulmer, Kyle Tucker, Jaden Bulmer. So that's a hat trick for Bulmer. Kyle Tucker, Taylor Mackey, Austin Patrick, James Zasla, and then Dustin Putos. Assists: Shiro, then Tarling and Hopcraft, then Noble and Shiro, then Green, then Mackey and Scott, then Putos and Tucker, then Scott, then Marcus and Tucker, then Marcus, then Osborne and Green, then Hopcraft and Campbell, then Scott, and then the last goal, Barrington and Knight. As Great Britain chips it into the Canadian zone, looking to get a shot on net is White. Just shot it wide. Canada has it back behind the net. 8 minutes remaining, up towards the blue line, onto the stick of Hamlin. And a 2-on-1 now developing. Canada's got to hustle back. Oh, just a little too hot to handle there. Past the stick of Josiah Wells. Wells going off for a change. Hey, credit to Wells. He ran hard there for a good minute. That is not easy to do in ball hockey, believe me. That's like boxing. People say, I could box. I'd go in there for 3 minutes. Believe me, you wouldn't last 30 seconds if you're not in boxing level shape. So all those people saying, well, it's a minute. You can't run hard for a minute. Believe me, at this level, a minute can feel like an hour. It really can. So credit to him for showing the hustle, putting forth some grit and determination. Face off one back by Canada. Over to Scott. Scott with it. Back to the point. Long wrist shot. Waffled the side. And since I'm speaking to primarily, I just realized this, a British audience, when I say waffled the side, for those who are new to ball hockey, the piece of equipment that the goaltender holds their stick with is technically called a blocker. However, colloquially, one of my favorite words to throw out every now and then, colloquially, it is known as a waffle. So you hear hockey announcers say waffle, they're talking about the blocker. It's a piece of equipment that the goaltender uses to hold their stick. Hey, never a dull moment with me, folks. You learn something new every time you listen to me call a game, right? As Great Britain gains the Canada zone there. Oh, just poke checked away. Canada now with a one-on-one. Noble shot. Scores. Good wrist shot for Mr. Noble there. Just picked the short side. Six minutes, 8 seconds remaining. 14-0. Canada back into the Great Britain zone, but the play is offside. Okay, last goal scored by Liam Noble. Obviously, you saw that wrist shot assisted by Patrick and Hopcraft. Hopcraft, 3 assists on the day. That was Noble's first point of the day. Canada intercepts, gains the Great Britain zone. 5 minutes remaining here in the third period. Across to Mackey. Canada getting some fresh legs out. Zazala. Great Britain content to just play a box here and try and keep things along the perimeter. Long shot blocked off the stick of Zazala. Over to Mackey, back to Zazala. Sent in down low. Zazala's going to go off. Cross floor pass up to Putos. Putos cross floor. Canada getting some more line changes. Good job there by number 18, Andy Knight. Waiting for his team to finish the line changes. Over to Barrington, down low. Back to Barrington. Over to Shiro, down low. Centering attempt, blocked. Looks like Canada really just content to work the ball around at this point. Just don't see their players moving their legs. And trying to create passing lanes and shooting lanes. You know, again, I'm speaking primarily to a British audience, so I'm operating under the assumption that you are not as familiar with hockey as we are over across the pond in North America. So in games like this where one team is clearly better than the other, from a coaching perspective, if you're the coaching staff of Canada, right, you know your team's going to win. What you don't want to see happen, right, is your players to form bad habits, because it's the first day of the tournament, right? You only have 4 days, and believe me, if you start forming bad habits on the first day, it can be very difficult to get rid of them. So from a coaching perspective, right, what you want to see is what Canada's doing, right? Just not, if you're going to pass it, right, sharp passes, you know, don't try and get cute with the ball. Don't go out there and try and look like Mario Lemieux, you know, or Connor McDavid, right? You know, if you do lose it, right, hustle after it. Like you see how that player did there for Canada, number 9? Trey Marcus, right? Ball rolled off of his stick, but hey, he's up 14-0, right? He could have just walked and said, oh, well, you know, somebody else take care of it. But no, he ran after the ball. He made a good defensive play, went on the back check, and that's what the coaches want to see. That's good habit forming. Again, these are young gentlemen, and just having been around the game of hockey a long time, it is very difficult to erase bad habits if you start them on day one of a tournament. So from a coaching perspective, I think Team Canada obviously is going to be happy with this. You know, there's not going to be much debate going into the locker room about who could have done this, who could have done that, and so on and so forth. It's on to the next game, right? This is your last game of the day, so you head back to the hotel, you know, shower up, get cleaned up, you know, grab a bite to eat, and then come scout your opponents, right? That's what the coaches will do. approaching the 1 minute mark remaining here in the third period. Canada in complete control, as is expected. Canada just passing the ball around, content to not try and make any crazy plays here. As we have 40 seconds remaining. Onto the stick of Hopcraft. He's just going to take this towards the far boards, back to the point. And those chants you hear are the Great Britain fans. I have to say, you know, I got to tip my cap to the Great Britain fans. They show up in full force. You know, there was a lot of them last week in Visp and Reron, Switzerland for the men's and women's. And they've shown up here for the juniors. Showing their support for the team. Good for them. You know, one player in particular, as we get to the final 10 seconds here, I want to call out for Great Britain, is number 6, Emily Benson. You know, this is a boys' event, right? So it's supposed to be for males. Credit to Emily Benson. You know, she comes out here, she's battling hard, she's going into the corner with the boys, you know, giving them the business like they're giving her. Again, I tip my cap. Can only imagine how difficult this is for her to come out here on a rink full of, you know, boys. She's the only female, right? And just go out there and compete. She came out, she played hard. So if you're there for Emily Benson, rooting, cheering, hey, all the credit in the world. Way to go. I love it. I hope we see more of it. Good job to her. Or as the Brits like to say, fair play to her. Right? Fair play to her. Say, well, Chris, who are you talking to? Oh, I'm talking to a Slovakian volunteer next to me who is doing a fantastic job operating this live stream. Fine, outstanding young man, Mr. Barilla. Thank him. Doing a terrific job with this web stream. But yeah, getting back to Emily Benson, right? I mean, it can't be easy for her. But she's out there battling, so great work. So I will hang around for the Player of the Game Awards. I think for Great Britain, I'm giving it to the original goaltender. And I'm not being biased because I'm Polish and he's Polish, but I really think Joshua Mroczynski just did an outstanding job in net. You know, guy gave up 7. Who cares, right? He continued to battle, man. You know, he made 24 saves. For Canada, yeah, I mean, take your pick. Maybe Jaden Bulmer, right? Looking who else here. You know, Bulmer's the one that had the hat trick. You know, Kyle Tucker is on the scoreboard quite a bit. Mackey. Hey, they gave it to Emily Benson. There you go. You know what? Good for her. Big round of applause from all the fans in attendance and also from everybody on Team Canada. Great sportsmanship. Love to see it. Good for her. And if you're a friend, family, parent, just love it. Love it for her. So for Canada, they give it to number 88, Dustin Putos. He scored a goal. And just checking the score sheet. Yeah, also had a couple of assists. So, hey, congrats, Dustin Putos. All right, that's going to do it for me, folks, as they will take their Player of the Game photos and then proceed to play the Canadian National Anthem, as is tradition. Again, stay tuned for the next one. It's what we call the big one of the day, rivalry game, U18 division, Slovakia against Czech Republic. Thanks again, folks. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.